The Disrupt Education vlog can be found on YouTube. To hear it in podcast form, search Disrupt Education on any of the following podcast platforms: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Spotify, or Stitcher. Welcome to the Disrupt Education Podcast. I'm Peter Hostrasser. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Got a great guest. We're in January. We're talking youth voice and education. Jalen Ponder is an entrepreneur. I'm going to stick right there because I know you're in college as well.
Yep.
Jalen, thank you so much for being here with us today, man.
My pleasure.
Gotta ask, that was very quick. There's a long story that we're going to get into in your education path. But you are an entrepreneur and a student. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so I would say that I am an entrepreneur and got tied up in college. So I started my entrepreneurship career at the age of 13. I was living in a house with 8 other people and my two aunts. And so we had a lot of trouble coming up with funds to maintain the current state of living. I saw my aunt, she was putting in these crazy hours, my uncle working these late hours, and it just wasn't beneficial. Like I couldn't, they were literally decaying away. They were working themselves too hard, and I could see it on their face. They were getting stressed out. And so I said, hey, I need to figure out how to make some money, how to make some things turn. I need to figure out how to put their change in their pocket, because I was literally seeing people that I loved and that I grew up loving give away their life. And so I started reading up and I started figuring out how to get some money. There was originally a couple of bad ways to make money, as you know. There always is bad ways, and got steered off that course. And I started reading up on how can I make money legally. how can you make it the right way? And so I went to the dollar store, and the first thing that I started to learn how to do was buy these dollar store packages, these. I went in there and I bought princess napkins, princess plates, princess balloons, bundled up, and then sold it for $25 as a princess birthday package. Kept selling those. And then there was this little stick. It's almost like a the fire sticks that Amazons have, but it was way back in the day. It was the first beginning of those. It was called Rabbit TV. And you could buy the base part of it for $1 and then go online and sell it for $15. And so you could go in there and buy these different products and sell it online. And just as soon as they buy it, the dollar store is up the street from me. And so I started ordering. Most people don't know this. If you want a large quantity of stuff from the dollar store, you can put in orders from the dollar store management. They'll deliver 100 Rabbit TVs for $100 to the dollar store up the street. So I started figuring out how to make money like that. Fast forward about 6 months down the line, it really wasn't that much money. So I started figuring out how do I make more money. And so I saw a food truck owner, and he was accepting payments all the time. And I was like, geez, I need to be in that business. So I went up to him and I said, hey, how can I get in this business? And he told me that he didn't really understand too much about Facebook or understand social media. And so he just said, if you can run on my Facebook page and give me some views, and we can talk about it. If you want to talk about it, then we can meet up at my office in about a week. And so I was like, okay, I got a week to learn Facebook and Instagram marketing. And so I went to the public library and I started reading up on books, started reading up on tactics and applying it. Until next week, I put together this real good presentation, made it really spiffy, and then I presented it to him. He was like, man, you really sound like you know what you're talking about. I was like, I sure hope I do. And so he said, I'll give you a month to see if it works out. And if it works out, then we can keep you. But if it doesn't work out, I have to cut you off. It's just business. And so that following month, I grew his reach by over 100%. And I started booking him at different places. Once people started messaging me, because I was running his Facebook page, people are like, can you be out here? And then I'll be like, yeah, we could be out there. And so hey, Ben, somebody wants you out here. And so we would get them connected. And so people kept messaging them, and then I kept booking them. And it got to a point where I got booked at the biggest downtown spot in Detroit. It's called Hart Plaza. And that's where Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z performs at. So he sold out all of his inventory that day. And so he made like over $3,000 in like the span of 3 hours. And it was just absolutely ridiculous. And take in mind, like he sells hot dogs. So I mean, yeah, so it wasn't like huge markup items. So a little bit after that, then his food truck he was cooking and it just blew up. Like part of it caught on fire and he blew up and he called me and was like, man, my food truck blew up. I jumped out the window. I felt like I was in a James Bond movie and everything. I was like, that shouldn't be your focus right now. And so once that happened, then I had to figure out how to get more food trucks. And so I started reaching out to different food trucks in Rockford. That's where my parents moved up to. So I moved in with them. I started booking food trucks out in Rockford and Beloit and Rockton. And a couple of them gave me a chance. And now I work with over 35 food trucks in the area, booking them at different events that we do today. We do weddings, corporate events, birthday parties, graduation parties, community events, whatever it is, you name it. Like we get food trucks at get-togethers. And now we start working with mobile vendors, like different people that have tents, like pop-up tents, those different things that you see at the carnivals. We work with them now, get them in different places. And out of all the people that I met throughout my experience booking these food trucks, and it's been a great ride, but I met a lot of people that do music, that do video production, everything like that. And so I put together a drive-in movie theater with all those people, and I just put a deposit down, bought the screen. Something tough to swallow that bill was, but we got cashed in on my brownie points with everybody. But we got the drive-in movie theater up, and now we run that in. So now I'm booking these food trucks out. We got the drive-in movie theater in, just figuring out how to make it all work. And doing horrible in college, but I'm getting better. You know?
Well, I think that's like the name of the business is Evendtor, right?
Yeah.
Evendtor.
Yeah.
And we'll put that information up and have people connect with you at the end of the podcast. That's an interesting segue into your education, right? So there was a necessity to learn as you were seeing your family just work and work and work and trying to make ends meet.
Right.
And then now you're in a college, you happen to be there. And so let's take that journey. So, parallel, starting out and selling these items, even as a young man, going through, which is genius, by the way. I'm thinking like, the McDonald's Happy Meals. You're just packing things together and sending them and figuring out how to order things and do that. What was happening while you were in school? And what was that like? What was that experience? Was it a bother? Was it something that you could connect to your life situation? Walk us through Jalen's educational path in the system. And obviously outside the system, you're an entrepreneur, so you're learning on that. I heard the library there, which I love. I got a lot of friends in libraries. Right. But yeah, take us through that.
At the beginning of my high school career, I was not the best student. I wasn't making money in the right way. And I didn't have a great influence of kids around me. And the first semester of high school, I almost failed, like across the board. And I think it was a lot of stern talking from my parents and a lack of income that kind of made me rechange my decisions. But in high school, I kind of had it down to a science. High school really isn't that hard. It's just like you got to do the formula, you plug in the answers, and then you're out of there. And that's kind of what I started picking up on. Like, okay, I do this, I put it in here, and then I'm done. And it's like I would wake up at 4 a.m. every day, and I would just work on my homework for 1 hour, and then the rest of it, my business. And it's like a lot of people are like, how could you wake up at 4 a.m.? It's like, if you love what you're doing, you wake up. And at that time, I was a young man. It was like, if I can wake up and I set up parties, I get to go to parties, I get free food, and I get girls. All right, let's wake up on time.
Right.
Yeah, it's like money, everything like that. But obviously, my priorities have changed. But I used to wake up. I used to get my homework done in about an hour. But I really saw school as a leverage. I saw the teachers that I got connected with as a leverage. I saw my principals as a leverage. I saw the people that they knew as a leverage. And it was because I was reading this book. I don't know if you've ever read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I got
absolutely.
Yeah, because I got recommended to it by like a bunch of YouTube influencers that you see on like the cover of like like the advertisements. And so I actually picked it up and read it, but it gave me a really good insight about using people. And so I started talking to my teachers as though we were like peers, as though we were friends. And so I started talking to them. And one of the best questions that I could ask a teacher was, how are you doing? Like scale of 1 to 10. It's just like not too many people think about it. And it's like, okay, I mean, I'm a 7. And I'll be like, oh, why is that? And then we'll hear it. And I'll be like, I hope it gets to an 8. And then just leave it on that. Or I hope it gets to a 9. Or if it was at a 5, I hope it gets to a 7. Something like that. And they would get to remember me because not only am I a teacher, I'm also somebody's friend, or I'm also somebody that you can talk to. And I built long connections to this. I have many of my teachers as contacts in my phone today. I talk to them on a regular basis. And the first people to give me a chance up here was my high school, because I started to talk to my principal. I told him about this idea and I really convinced him of it. And it wasn't just an idea, it was also because of me. And there was, I had more friends as teachers than I had friends as students in high school. And that was a big game changer for me. Almost every teacher in that school was my friend. And that really helped me to leverage outside experiences. And so I wasn't really focused on school as I was focused on the people in the school. And that changed my perspective on a lot of things. So, and it was so much so that when I did my first business pitch competition, 2 of my teachers from my high school drove to Chicago to see me present. And it was
Nice.
or 3 of them actually, because
Mhm.
retired now, but 3 of them came up and saw me present. So I would say high school, I use people as a leverage.
That's so brilliant, Jalen, because I know the students who connect, right? You know, we are always reaching out as educators. And it's very rare to hear a student ask me, how are you doing? And I could
Right.
tell you the 3 or 4 students right now in my classes that do that. And I know who they are, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
we do connect and such. I like that take on it. So after high school, are you right into college, even in going, or what was that path like?
To give you context about my idea about education, in high school, all 4 of my years, never thought I was going to college. Even up to my last day of senior year, I didn't think I was going to college. Because my event industry, I was making pretty good money in high school doing it. I didn't make any money for my first 2 years and really kicked off my second 2 years. And I was like, I'm going to learn how to do this. And I said that when I was a freshman, because when I was a freshman, I made a decision once I figured out that making money in bad ways was bad. I know it's intuitive, but you know, kids are kids. But I said, I'm going to figure out how to make money the right way. And I'm going to figure out how to do it well. And so I worked for 2 years for free for a food truck to learn how to book events. I worked for an attorney for free. I worked for the Village of Roxton for free. And I worked for the city of Beloit for free to learn how to coordinate events. And when I was 17, I put together a really big business plan for an event in 2020, the year that I was supposed to graduate, for a $50,000 event. And I was going to take that event and then partner with the company in Chicago that I knew from one of my teachers. They were interested in what I was doing and how many food trucks I was getting signed up. And so we're going to kick off that event. And if that one went well, then we're going to do another $50,000 event at the end of the season, at the end of summer, just for going back to school. We had one for getting out. We wanted one to go back to school. But in March, this thing called COVID happened.
Right.
And, they're like, hey, Jalen, you know, all that money that you were going to put up, we're still going to need that, you know, like, because we already bought some of the material. We already bought some. And so I dished out like $7,000. And then big difference from making $50,000 to losing $7,000.
Right.
It was a tough pill to swallow. And I blamed myself for a lot of it. And I was like, dang, Jalen, you really messed up. You didn't think this through. You didn't think that through. And so I didn't plan on going to college. I planned on running this business. I planned on going out to get investors. And that summer was just a spiral for me. I was like, what do I do? You know, like the past things I've been working for 4 years, I just didn't know anymore. It just wasn't. I don't know how to really describe it, but you kind of feel like you're that guy until something goes by and slash you on the wrist and keeps you in check. But I really thought that I had it made, and my mistake was I felt entitled, and it was hard for me to get over that summer. And so I immediately pivoted. I was like, okay, if I can't make money this way, I can go to school. I know how to do pitch competitions. I'll sign up for these pitch competitions and I'll win some pitch competitions. And so I enrolled in college and made some money doing pitch competitions. And then I left, and then I ran my business for a semester, and I came back. And so it was just a pivot for me. And I just used school. I was like, I can learn a little bit while I'm in here. I can do these pitch competitions, and I can keep running on my business. But the hard part about college is that it's college, and it's a lot of coursework. And that's kind of how I got into my situation that I am in right now. I'm in college. It's just a lot of coursework. I wanted to go in here for the pitch competitions. I had no intention on coming to college.
Mm-hmm.
And if things pick back up, I think that I'll run my business. And I'm not saying that college isn't a good investment. I've met a lot of great people here. It's just not necessarily for me.
Right.
I think that college is a good method. If I wanted to be a doctor, if I wanted to be a lawyer, of course I should go to college. And if I didn't already know what I wanted to do, and college offered a lot of ways for me to get connected with people that can give me examples, give me interviews, give me stuff like that to figure out what I want to do, college would be worth it. But if I know exactly what I want to do, and that thing doesn't require a college degree, and I know how to use the leverage and that works outside of the school, it's a hard sell for me.
Right.
And I'm not saying that the connections in here are not valuable. I would say that my time outside of college, the potential investment outside of college, and the progress I can make outside of college would probably be more beneficial than some of those connections. I would be willing to gamble just because I can go out there and make those through business as well.
Well, you've done that already, right? So
Yes.
as you mentioned, working for free, but you're actually learning for free, right? That's the way you look at it. And you've done that through, creating this event and working with, even in that failure, right? There was learning there. So, well, that kind of leads me to the final question here is, so, all right, well, you're the boss of education now. And I kind of heard maybe inklings of the answer, but hey, I'm just going to guess. But you were talking a little bit about, how to utilize time and learning the best way for you.
Right.
We'll leave that there. But the disrupt education question, Jalen, is like you're the lawmaker now. You're the person, and we can talk post-secondary or we can talk high school, whatever. What's one or two big things that Jalen would change about education that maybe our leaders and lawmakers need to know right now?
Well, Peter, I actually got 3 for you, and I'll keep them short.
Let's go. I love them.
So, the first thing I would make is I would make goal setting mandatory, and teach kids how to do it, and teach kids how to do it realistically. I would teach planning, so not only how to have the goals, but how to get there, and then I'll teach execution. And I don't know how to change that name, but all 3 of these things, if you know how to do it, you could be a billionaire. And I would even venture to say you could be the first trillionaire if you know how to do it and you know how to do it well. Without goals, then I strongly believe that your goal affects your handshakes, it affects your walk, it affects your talk, it affects how you look at other people, it affects how you look at yourself. The best example I could give is when I was 13, my goal was just to make money. I made money in the wrong way. And I didn't have a goal for myself. I just had a goal of $5,000. It didn't matter how I got there. I had a goal of $5,000. Now my goal is I want to go to inner cities all across the world and make sure that nobody has to grow up in extreme poverty. And because of that, it affects my walk. It affects how I talk. It affects how much money I want to make, how I look at business. It affects how I look at other people and how to leverage them and how to get there. And it completely changed me as a person. There is a 360-degree change from who I was then and to who I am now. And I think if you can teach kids how to set their own goals, then they can have that too. One of the best exercises I was reading up about is having students write their own report cards before the semester even starts, before they even get into the door. Just have the students write down, I want an A in this class. I want to be in this class. And if a student writes down a C or a D, then it's like, why? And then you start working backwards, and they start uncovering, oh, because my parents didn't tell me I was smart, or oh, because other kids thought I was dumb when I was growing up, or oh, I can't do that much. And you stop the problem before it starts as an adult. Because a lot of people, when they get older, they think, oh, I'm not smart enough to get that job. Oh, that's too much work. I can't apply for that. And I think we're really dropping the ball where we could be preventing it. And then planning is where I want the students to really focus in as well, because it's not about having an A or a B, a C, whatever it is. It's about how do you get there? Because everybody wants $1 million, but I highly doubt more than 1% of the population has a plan to get to $1 million. And you could say, I'm going to get an A, I'm going to get an A, I'm going to get an A. And then you could slack off all day and not do anything. And it says confirmation without affirmation, or affirmation without confirmation is the beginning of delusion. And you can make all these plans, write them up, and begin to work those, and then start reaching your goals. But you're not going to reach your goals without a plan. It's like trying to drive to California without a map, one of the best examples I heard about it was if you ask a builder to go out and build a house with a blueprint, then a lot of people see him like, oh, he's working on a blueprint. But if you see a dude outside on a lawn placing down bricks in a circle, and then they ask you what you're building, you say, I don't know. They're going to come and lock you up and put you in a safe place, But and the last thing is execution. And I think this is the big part that people miss. They think that execution, it has to be really something complex, or that has to be really something hard. But execution should, in theory, be one of the easiest steps, or one of the quickest steps, because you need a quick turnaround time. Like the more you do, the more you can tweak, and the more you can iterate, and the faster you can go. And it's like, do, iterate, and then you get there. But a lot of people don't do the do part, and then they get put behind. And I would really want to see people teach kids how to act, because I venture to say almost any goal that you have can be started today. One of the best examples I did that I can recall is once I got to campus, there's this young lady, and she and I were talking. She said, I really want to write scripts for Hollywood. And I was like, that's a really ambitious goal. Like, what do you want to do that for? And she was saying, like, when she gets older, she wants to give her parents a copy of a movie that she wrote. And it's like, and I don't know, like, huge titles, but like, if I could hand my parents like a copy of like a Marvel's movie, and I was like, Mom, I wrote this script, or like, hey Mom, I wrote the talk track for Ant-Man, all throughout the movie. That's what she wants. And she was saying, oh, I'm going to go to college for 8 years, get my degrees, and go and then I'm going to move out to Los Angeles, and I'm going to go there and work for like a couple more years. And I'm going to hope to get a shot with a script writer. And then I'm going to try and see if I can get into Hollywood. And I was like, in my mind, I think of stuff really A to B. And I'm thinking, she's here right now. She wants to get a job as a script writer. So I was like, why don't you just ask script writers if you can have an internship? And so what do? I got a list of script writers in Los Angeles. And I emailed them and I said, hey, I have this friend that's really interested in script writing. Do you know if you can give her an internship, or do you know if anybody else that can provide her one? And about 3 days later, she had an internship. And so that theoretically cut her out about like 12 years, because you know how to do something. And it's a lot of people have such a convoluted way of doing, like not everything has to be by the books. It's just about getting the stuff done. It doesn't really matter how you get from A to B, as long as you're aligned morally, like as long as you get from A to B morally, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a degree or not. I highly doubt, let's say if Tom Brady got into the Super Bowl, they're not going to say like, all right, man, did you go to college? Like, what did you get in calculus? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's like, if he's in college and he can play for the NFL, send the boy to the NFL. I mean, if somebody's a good actor and they want to go to Hollywood, send them to Hollywood. And it doesn't matter if you are in college, if you don't have a degree, if you are below the certain income, if you're a good script writer and they can make a lot of money off of it, send them to the lot of money, and I think that when people understand that, then they can start making progress a whole lot faster. And that's why I've been able to start 2 businesses in a drive-in movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 19,
right. Right.
Just going, and taking a little bit after.
It's funny because we are a lot closer to our goals if we know what they are, right? Mm-hmm. I like those 3 things. It's a wonderful, combination. I usually go haters, waiters, and doers. That's when the do part, right? And I like that. Yeah, the do part is not as hard as you think it is. You just have to get out of your own way, right? This young lady was 12 years away. I was like, is she going to be a doctor? Like, what is, So, and it is, there's the people piece there. Man, that's, I like that. Let's build a school. What the heck, right? So,
yeah.
So that's wonderful, man. And I really do like when you take what you have done and then share it with other people. I can tell you actually put your value and your vision of what you want to do right in that story as well. And you actually, you gave this young lady a list and said, go. That's what we want to do as educators, right? We want to get all the stuff out of the way and say, here, go. And if you need me, I'll be here, right?
Right.
So I love that. Oh, wonderful, wonderful stuff. Jalen, I want to give people an opportunity to connect with you, your business, and, just connections in general. So how can people connect with you? Evendtor, I keep calling it Evendtor because I'm thinking Lamborghini, man. So, which I kind of like. Maybe we'll think about that name, Evendtor. And how can people contact and possibly either go on the food truck route or hey, man, obviously you're an inspirational guy to talk to people and connect.
Yeah, so I would love to give people my email. My email is the letter J and then it's Ponder, Ponder at Evendtor.com, and that's even followed with DTOR.com. And you can also visit our website, www.evendtor.com. And if they want, they can just message me. I always give people my phone number. A risky thing to do nowadays, but if they want to email me, we can set up a time to talk, call, FaceTime, whatever. I'm not formal about it. Just getting the meeting out of the way. If there's anybody that I can help, I'm all ears.
Awesome. And I can't wait to see what the next step is with you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on Disrupt Education and telling us your not only your entrepreneurial journey, but your educational journey as well. And this is going to resonate with a lot of listeners. So thank you so much, Jalen.
I hope so. Yep.
All right. And everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out with us on Disrupt Education. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll talk to you next time.